guys, I've had quite a few people ask me about my helmet, mainly the fact that I'm running Howard Leights Impact Sports, the electronic hearing protection from Howard Leights, with these Pelter adapters on my Team Wendy helmet. And I have a lot of guys ask me how I'm doing that. Most people don't know that you can actually use the Howard Leights with the Pelter adapters and connect them to your Team Wendy, and they function pretty much the same. It's not 100% perfect, but if you're looking for that cheap alternative to running something like Sorden's, this works great, and I've been using it for a few months now and haven't had any issues. So I'm going to kind of go over how to do it and kind of the issue that it might have. That I actually haven't had an issue yet, but I could see one potentially happening, and I'll kind of explain that as well. So I'll try to get some up-close shots the best that I can and kind of show how to do this, or more explain how to do it since I've already done it, and kind of go over just kind of what it takes. And it's really, really simple. Once you see the Pelter adapters in person and you get your Howard Leights pulled apart, you'll see exactly how they go together, and it'll all make really perfect sense. And like I said, this is probably like a maybe 5-10 minute project at the most. And yeah, you'll be able to run your Howard Leights on your Team Wendy with the Pelter adapters. Okay, so the first thing you're going to have is, obviously, you're going to have your Howard Leights Impact Sports. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cut off that leather that's around here. I found that it's just easiest to cut it off. Just make sure you don't cut your wire. And then once you cut it off, you'll end up with this. After you cut that off, you'll see that there's a couple little, I guess, the metal is kind of looped here to kind of hold these in place. And I've actually got this other cheap set pulled off already. And so basically what you want to end up with is you want to remove the headband. You'll see how to do it. You'll just kind of open these up with a pair of pliers, and then the headset itself will slip right off, and you'll do that on both sides. And then what you'll pretty much end up with is this, but it'll still have the wires on it. Now, I don't recommend just pulling the wires out. You can do that if you wanted to, but I did break one of these connectors the first time. These connectors on this cheap set here are the same as what's on the Howard Leights. So fortunately, I was able to remove one of these connectors and use it on my Howard Leights. So you don't want to actually just yank these out, because you could break this plastic connector. So what you want to do is you actually want to kind of Dremel it, either here or here, somewhere. You want to kind of Dremel both sides off, so that way you just have two little posts sticking out of there. And what you'll end up with after you do your Dremeling is you'll have these two posts sticking out of here. And the reason you don't want to pull them off is because the way they're notched. And you'll notice that you can't, but you can't really just pull them out unless they're turned the right direction, and that's what happened there. So you'll notice you just put pressure, pulling pressure on them, and just keep rotating it until they slide right out, and you'll see that there's a little notch on the metal where the metal has been flattened, and then you'll notice that this is kind of like a keyhole on the plastic piece, and that's how it stays together. So you'll see that that slides right in and out when it's facing the right direction, but when it's not, it's actually pretty tough to pull out. And then you just keep rotating, and then there it goes. They pull right out. So like I said, you'll do that to both of them, and those will pull right out, and then you'll end up with just your Howard Leights and the wire, right? After that, you'll have either your Team Wendy helmet or your Fast helmet or whatever's got your Pelter adapters on it. And I found that it's pretty easy to do. You just put the Pelter adapters on first, and then after you do that, you're just going to slide the Howard Leights on. And what I did was I made sure that the wire portion is facing the back of the helmet, so that way the wire would run around the back. Now you can probably run the wire through if you wanted to, but I don't know if that would work for flipping the headset out of the way. So it might. You can play with it. I don't really feel like doing it. So you'll notice the Pelter adapters. The issue that you could have like I said, I haven't had this issue yet, is the Pelter adapter, these wires are just like a hair smaller than the Howard Leights ones, and that's the reason that these technically don't work 100%, or they don't work perfectly, but they do work very well. So they're a tiny bit smaller, so really like there's no force or anything. They pretty much just squeeze right in, and it's also because they face the other direction, so they don't really like lock into place because that little flat matches the direction of the keyhole, so they won't rotate inside that keyhole to actually hold them in place. But once you slide them in, they really, it takes a little bit of force to pull them off, so it's not like you're really just going to pull them off just by using them. I mean, you kind of do have to give them a little bit of a tug. That's why I don't really see there being much of an issue, even though they don't fit exactly as they should. And like I said, you can then tuck them out of the way like that. So then I just do the other side here. Just push each side in. You can see that it takes a little bit of force, so it's not like they're just flopping around on there, and that's it. And then for me, I actually tuck my wire here, and then my V-light kind of holds it down in place, and that's it. That's all it takes. It's like I said, it's a piece of cake, and once you actually see the parts in person, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about and see exactly how they go together. And it's a fairly easy project. So like I said, it's not perfect. It's not 100%. But I've never accidentally pulled them off these wires. I've never accidentally pulled the Howard Leights off these wires. So I really don't see anyone having much of an issue. So there you go. If you're looking for that cheap, $45 setup rather than getting a pair of Sordins or whatever, or if you have a pair of Sordins and you don't want to permanently attach them to your helmet, and you want those just to be, your non-helmet ear pro, this is a really good, cheap alternative. Like I said, Howard Leights can be had for right around $45, and then I got my Pelter adapters from TNVC for $70. So, $110, and you've got tuck away ear pro on your helmet. So there you go. Thanks for watching.